This is Canada Reads American Style, featuring two friends who love Canada Reads and Canadian literature. Welcome our host Rebecca from Michigan and Tara from Ontario.
Hello and welcome to Canada Reads American Style. I'm Tara and I'm here with my partner Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca.
Good morning, Tara. How are you?
I'm good. How are you
Good.
doing?
Hey, I started out this morning with a power outage, but thank goodness it only lasted like an hour or so.
Yeah,
So I was thankful for that. Yeah.
yeah, because we're still getting chilly weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in Michigan, it's chilly.
Yep. I was hoping, to be honest with you, a little bit of spring weather. Well, we did. We actually had
Hmm.
a couple of days where it was spring like, what we call that our first spring.
Yep,
It's our
us
first
too.
spring. And then we're supposed to have like 2 inches of snow tomorrow, I think. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we are getting. I'm looking at the window right now. We're supposed to get about 5 centimeters, so about 2 inches of snow. It's happening right now. It just started maybe half an hour ago. So this morning when I got up, it was beautiful out, and there was like a beautiful sunrise. The sky was pink, and knowing the sun was or the snow was coming, I like ran outside. I'm like, I'm just gonna like drink in the sunrise before the snow started.
Nice.
I was
Nice.
actually annoyed with myself because then it made me angry that snow was coming. If I just stayed inside, not realizing how beautiful, like, if I could have just like distanced myself from the beautiful morning,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be as annoyed as I am at this moment looking outside.
That's too funny.
Oh, so there we go. Weather talk. It's always weather talk, but weather talk
Hmm.
is fun.
Yeah.
But we are here. We're introducing a new monthly segment today. But before we get into that, let's talk about what we're currently reading. What are you reading?
I'm reading book three and the last one in the Pippi Longstocking series because I started it last year. One of my goals was to read about strong girl characters in literature. And I read Pippi Longstocking, which I had never read, and thought it was freaking hilarious. Pippi is just too funny.
Yep.
And so I read book two, which interestingly, book two was different and I didn't enjoy it as much. And book three is back to kind of like how book one was. So, and
Interesting.
I know somebody wrote a bunch of Pippi stories, but this is the original author who wrote them like in the early 1900s or something like that, or whenever she wrote it.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't then. But anyway, so there's that one. And then
Okay.
the other one, the serious one, I'm reading
Oh,
I'll Tell You When I'm Home, a memoir by Hala Alian. And she's the one that wrote Salt Houses. And I really loved it.
right.
And this one, I'll give you just the brief beginning of it. It just says after a decade of yearning for parenthood through years marked by miscarriage after miscarriage, Hala makes a decision to use a surrogate. In this charged time, she turns to the archetype of the waiting woman, the Scheherazade who tells stories to ensure another dawn, to confront her own narratives of love, exile, and inheritance. And I am absolutely loving it. I'm
Mm,
only just about 25 pages in, but I'm loving this book.
awesome.
So, how about you?
Well, I am just about 25 pages into my current fiction. I'm not going to tell you about my nonfiction because we're going to discuss that later in our
Okay.
upcoming segment. But my current fiction, which I just started, is the newest book by Sharon Balla, who wrote The Boat People from a
Oh,
few
I
years
love
ago.
that. I love
Yes, so
that.
this one is Good Guys. Very quickly, so it's about a not-for-profit organization called Children of the World, which is an international aid charity. And we have publicist Claire, who manages in the first few pages I've gotten into. We get introduced in the first chapter to a school, orphanage, hospital that exists in a small country, in a South American country. Then, when we get introduced to Claire, we find out that the charity organization, is not doing well financially, like they are in trouble. Claire, the publicist, manages to make contact over social media with a very young and up and coming actress who would like to go visit the children's, let's say, hospital and school for what the organization calls a rescue, which is when the organizers find out that there is a young child in need in terms of like for health reasons. So they go in, and it kind of sounds like they abduct the child
Ooh.
and bring them to the hospital in order to give them care. And so this young actress
Oh.
wants to be part of it. They can, she's going to document it all on social media, of course. And the charity is hoping that this brings them back around financially, brings them back up to standing so they can do more work. Obviously, something's going to go wrong because this is
Yeah,
only, I think
yeah,
I'm like page 30 or something, and all is going well, but you know it's not going to. I am really enjoying. I wasn't sure about the story, I'll be honest, if I was going, but I'm like, I enjoyed the boat people. I want to give this
yeah,
a chance too. And I am in. I am really liking how she's setting it up. I'm liking the writing, and I've become immersed in the story already.
yeah.
So,
Oh, nice. That
yeah.
sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So that's it. Let's jump into our new segment, our new monthly
Yes.
segment, which we are calling Literary Rabbit Hole. It was inspired, well, both of us like going down rabbit holes as we read books, but mostly Rebecca. Like, Rebecca really loves a rabbit hole. So we thought it would be fun if we just did a, how best to describe it? Like, each one of us will bring a book that led us down a rabbit hole, and we thought we would share it with you.
Yes, excellent.
Okay.
And this was your idea. And what blows my mind, you've come up with so many great ideas in the past, but you came up with that idea today, like today, and we're doing
Yeah.
it.
Well, we were chatting, and it was inspired because the book that I had in my hands at that moment led me down a rabbit hole. And you love rabbit holes. I was like, wait a minute, this might be kind of fun to do. So
Exactly.
we don't. I'm assuming a lot of other people like it. Maybe people don't, but essentially, what we mean is we're reading a book for one reason, for whatever reason, we've picked up a book. But something, if it's fiction, it will happen in the book, or if it's nonfiction, they'll mention something, and you just end up going down a little like, I've never heard of that, or I want to see a picture of that, and just it just keeps
Yeah.
going from there, and it's
Yeah.
super fun.
I mean, I really look at it like it enhances the reading experience because sometimes if I come across even sometimes a word that I have no idea what that word means, the context of that word or whatever, I mean, I'll stop and look it up. Or something happens. My problem is I often immediately start looking it up and I have to start like writing it down and coming back to it because otherwise it disrupts my reading and that's ridiculous. But yeah, I can't help it. So,
That's part of your reading process.
but I'm working on it.
Ah, let's embrace the rabbit hole at least
There
once a
you go.
month. We're going to embrace these rabbit holes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll start with the book that kind of inspired it. So my current nonfiction is Run Towards the Danger: Confrontations with a Body of Memory by Sarah Polley. There's a very simple cover. I'm showing it to Rebecca, but I really like it.
No.
It's very
Yeah.
pretty color. I really like it. So my rabbit hole with this book, in the first essay, because it's a collection of essays, let me figure it. It's called Alice Collapsing. And it is Sarah Polley, who is a Canadian actor and filmmaker. And she is essentially, it's about her first and I believe only performance at Stratford. So at 15 years old, she landed the role of Alice in a production of Alice Through the Looking Glass at Stratford. And in the essay, she describes that before the beginning of the first rehearsal, when they were just going to, when they all got together, I believe it was the person who wrote the play based on the books, got them all together and said, okay, so I didn't know this. This is where I got my rabbit hole
Hmm.
about Lewis Carroll, that there are undertones in the story if you look at them because of his inappropriate obsession. I'm not going to call it a relationship because I think when I first said that, when we were chatting about it, was when I was like, Rebecca, did you know this? She did. Um, I said relationship, but that implies that it's a back and forth. It's not. He had an obsession with a 7-year-old girl, Alice Liddell, and then based his character of Alice Through the Looking Glass on her. I had no idea of this like backstory to a children's book. It
Yeah.
boggled my mind that it was, I'm like, now I'm not the first to find, obviously I'm not the first, she wrote about it kind of thing. That then brought me down a rabbit hole. I had to look it up. I
Hmm.
messaged Rebecca. I looked up more stuff. I found out there was a movie in the 80s, I think, called Dream Child, which was um, based on this story, the relationship between the two, because he was a family friend of Alice's family. So that's how he kind of intruded himself upon her life. So there was a movie based on that, which seems to give like, I didn't watch the movie, I watched the trailers. There are Jim Henson Muppets involved in it, which gives it
Oh,
like a weird, creepy little feeling, aside from the fact that he's a pedophile, which is a creepiness all on its own.
yeah.
But I read some reviews, it seems to almost give like a sympathetic um, rendering of him. It's so interesting. So this was my rabbit hole caused by one essay, which I loved. I like, and then it brought like finishing the essay. I just brought everything into pieces that she was discussing in the essay itself. I loved it.
And when you and I were talking about it, that's when I said, I don't know, I'd read this a long time ago. I don't remember the details, but I do believe there was a same issue with Mark Twain with a young
Yeah.
character, a young girl. And then I can't remember, this is terrible. I was going to look it up. Who wrote Blood Meridian? Who's
Is it
that?
Cormac McCarthy?
That's it.
That's
Cuz I
it.
can
Right.
never I get his name mixed up with other
Yeah.
McCarthys and stuff. You know, I don't know if it was a year or 2 years ago, there was that article that came out by the young woman who's not young now, but she was a girl at the time that they met, and she was his muse, and she talked about their relationship because it turned out it was a relationship, and, you know, that's when you and I started talking about that
Mhm.
whole thing about when you come across a person who's done something that is heinous because my opinion those things are, but how do you separate the art from the artist and that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, and it's funny, I've never read Alice in Wonderland, and it just never sounded like a book that would be of interest to me. And then when I heard that, I was kind of like, nah, I think I can just pass on that one, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I was the same. Like, I've never, I think it would be a book that would interest me, like
Hmm.
with the books that I like, but it never came into my like sphere when I was a kid. And it's not something I've jumped at up until now. Like, I every now and then I'll read like a traditional children's book.
Hmm.
That's not been one of them. I won't now because it's weird, because even in the essay, so the person who wrote the screenplay said, okay, so this is what's it. And then the director spoke and said, but we're not going to worry about that. This is a play for children, and we just want to delight children. So it was
Right.
it was really weird that she's was
Yeah.
put in this position as a 15-year-old to be like, we've told you about this, so you know the subtext of
Yeah.
what's going on in the relationship, because I guess there's the white knight who's in the book, and in the play that she was in, the white knight kind of stands for Lewis Carroll himself. It's very, and then she had to play Alice, who was saying goodbye to Lewis, to the white knight. It's And with no subtext. Like, she had to
Yeah.
play it as a child who didn't know all that stuff.
Yeah.
Icky.
Yeah. And I think especially that kind of stuff now rings completely differently now that we have the Trump files. I don't
Mhm.
call them Epstein, they're the Trump files. So now that those are out and about and we know how much young men and women, I should say boys and girls, not always young men and women,
Mhm.
but how they've been abused and stuff. And so I think it's really hard I don't know, it's hard to look at some of those classics or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's harder now.
No,
Yeah.
it does like taint it somehow. And with all the books that we have to read, I'm
There you go.
okay with like letting them go.
Mhm. Yeah.
See you later, old pervert. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said.
It's true though.
It
I'm
is true.
sorry.
Yep. So there
God.
was my rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It was a good
Okay.
one. And then I liked it because it led to our conversation about everything. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I love Marcello Di Cintio. Everybody knows that. If you've been listening to the podcast at all, you know that I love this guy. His writing is just amazing. Writes great nonfiction. And I have read 3 of his books and I decided to go back and read his backlist. So the book I just read recently is Walls, Travels Along the Barricades. And he started on the trip to Africa and different places around the world to look at places that had barricades, barriers, walls, fences, etc. He started in 2008. The book was published in 2013. So of course it forced me to go down rabbit holes because
Mhm.
as I was reading the book, I thought, but have things changed in the last 12 years and actually really 18 years if you count, when he started the research. So I just want to mention this. The places that he talks about are walls, barriers, etc. between, so the first one is Morocco and Western Sahara. Then there's these two little enclaves in Morocco, which I'm not going to try to pronounce them, but these two little places I had no idea even existed. There are fences there or walls, whatever. India, Bangladesh, Israel, Palestine, of course, Cyprus, which I didn't know about, and then US, Mexico, Belfast, Northern Ireland, and Montreal. Now,
Montreal.
yeah, I will just say this about it. Yeah, it turns out there's this little fence that divides, and as far as I can tell, it's still there. It's hard to find out about it because it's not really a big famous one, but it's this barrier that sort of divided the haves from the have-nots back in the day. And I can't remember if that one was built in the 60s. And it's still there. And even though it's more now, it used to, I can't remember what group it might have been the Irish that lived there first or something, and they were divided from the more wealthy people.
Mhm.
And now that community is more like people from all over the world. Could be Jamaica, different places all around the world. But the barrier is kind of still there. So I have a friend whose son often goes to Montreal, and I said, "Will you please ask him to go
Yeah.
check out this roadway and tell me if that thing is still there?" It's called the Lacadie fence, L apostrophe ACADIE.
Mhm.
So anyway, there's that one. So, but I did do, but so as I was reading this book, I had to go down all the rabbit holes for all the ones I just mentioned,
Yep.
right? And I learned
Yep.
so much. It was absolutely fascinating. Now, here's the one I want to mention though that is really that kind of just really blew my mind. So I'm gonna pull up my details about it so I don't forget. So in Belfast, Northern Ireland, there are peace walls. And there was the big famous one that like the gates close in the evening or whatever. And I, because I've gone on TikTok, I've looked at it. I did a lot of research into it, went down all those rabbit holes. But here's the thing. So it said temporary peace walls started in the 1920s and 30s in different parts of Belfast. And then the main one was built in 1969. So this is that one peace wall that was built. Now, here's the deal. It said originally few in number, they have multiplied over the years from 18 in the early 1990s to at least 59 as of late 2017. And the Good Friday Agreement was 1998. So again, after 1998, it went from 18 to 59 now. So there are more walls in Northern Ireland in that Belfast area than there were before. So obviously it's separating the Protestants and the Catholics and the idea of, you know, unifying Ireland, Northern Ireland, or staying with with the UK. So in reading this, after I got through that whole chapter, and then I also started looking stuff up online and I started looking at TikTok videos of people who live there and people who talk about the walls, etc., and reading articles. I mean, I really went down a deep hole. Here's what I walked away with. As divided as the US is, I had this idea in my mind that, okay, as soon as the dumpster is out of office, maybe we can recoup some of what we've lost over the years, right?
Mhm.
And even that was a stretch. Probably, I was thinking, probably we won't, but kind of hoping. And after reading about Belfast, I thought, oh my God, the division between Catholics and Protestants there, it's like, MAGA and the rest of the world here in this country. And I think, oh my God, I don't think we're going to resolve it. Like, I think this is it. I think it's going to be entrenched and I don't think it's going away. And I mean, think about it. They went from 18 to 59, and that's only 2017. Who knows if how many more may have been built in the last almost 10 years. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so they just are staying so divided from each other. And that's even today, that's what what I was reading about. So that's what really kind of blew my mind. I mean, all of them, if you read this book, it's absolutely fascinating because I had no idea about all these different places where there are barriers. And Cyprus is a really fascinating one as well. I won't go into the details, but I just thought humans want to wall themselves away from others,
It's the
unlike them.
others. Yeah.
Others, that's the thing. So I thought this was an amazing book. I highly recommend it. I do think if you're someone like me, and you'll have a lot of rabbit holes if you want a research project while you're reading it, this is a really good one to take into account. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it was depressing to me because
Yeah.
I thought I had this friggin' realization, and then I thought it's okay because you know what, history is history, and it'll play out how it does.
Yeah.
But I think reading it in the context of all of these places that he's talked about, it just made me realize this is what humans do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sorry. I hate to end on a
No. Well, mine
negative
wasn't a
note.
great note either.
Well,
I
yeah,
did
that's
not
true.
like
That's true.
I did not have a positive rabbit hole either.
Oh my God.
So oops, sorry, hit my microphone. So sorry, readers, like that was pretty depressing rabbit holes.
We promised to try to bring a happier rabbit hole
Yeah.
in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I'm like, what can be my next book? I'll read a book about rainbows. Let's see what
Yeah.
that'll be like climate change, and then
I
I'll
was
be
just-
go then. Yeah.
I was just gonna say it'll be climate change. Oh my God. Oh,
my
sorry.
God. Oh, well, there we go. I that was really fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I'm
thank
only on
you.
I just finished the second essay of Sarah Polley's book, which I've been meaning to read since she published it. I'm finally oh my God, it's so good. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Everyone knows this already. I went down like another slight rabbit hole for that one. It's
Excellent.
not a good one, so let's not get into
Oh,
that either.
okay.
It
Okay.
did lead to Mike and my husband and I had great conversations about it though. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
excellent. All
yeah.
right.
Again, both not we agreed, thank goodness, because if he hadn't,
Well, I think that should be our goal. Let's try to come back with like a happy
yeah.
rabbit hole. I know there will be plenty.
Oh,
So
there will be.
there will be, of
It just
course.
happened to be dum dum, like for the first time.
Exactly.
Anyways, thank you all for joining us. We hope that you have like many literary rabbit holes in your reading, and we will see you next month. Happy reading.
Thank you for joining us on our bookish journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing Canada Reads American Style wherever you listen. You can connect with the podcast and Rebecca on Instagram at Canada Reads American Style, and with Tara at On a Branch Reads. Until next time, keep reading.